have worn it, but I think this looks sharper.
All right, we're going to do just real quick the incomings, just recap everything. Sir, you want to go through it?
First and foremost, we're doing this in chronological order, so we also have the tabs open, the official announcement from the club. First one, right at the beginning of the window, was Matheus Cunha, $62.5 million release clause, the 26-year-old Brazilian attacker from Wolves. He scored 27 goals in 65 appearances for the Midland side, including 15 EPL goals last year. And then he, of course, burst onto the scene in Germany with RB Leipzig and Hertha Berlin. Great signing in my book. You know, versatile attacker. He could play centrally. He could play more up front. He can play to the left. He's a good carrier of the ball. He's got good pace. He has a goal in him. And I see him as a kind of an heir apparent to Bruno Fernandes. A little more dynamic, right? He's got more pace. But at the same time, he's a chance creator. He's a goal threat. And I love this signing. EPL proven. We need the goals. I was all about this. Love the Brazilian.
And the fact he had the release clause from Wolves helped it go pretty smooth. He has a contract through 2020. I think this is a great signing. Great value here. He's probably a 90, 100 million pound footballer. We got him for 62.5 million. So ultimately, great value for United. EPL proven. He's right at that sweet spot age. The Brazilian can play on the left wing, number 9, and we've seen his impact. Boom. Like, he's a game changer. Absolute game changer. This is the perfect start for INEOS. This is an A+ signing. This is Zlatan all the way. I think you agree.
Without a doubt. No, because you de-risk it. You de-risk it because he's EPL proven. He's shown that he's obviously picked up an injury, but he's got good resiliency historically in the league, and the fee is good, like you said. That could easily be a much higher fee if there was no release clause. Next signing was Enzo Kana-Biyik, a 19-year-old French international striker. This is a player for the future. Scored 9 goals in 18 games for Le Havre's under-19 team. Under-19s team, and will spend this season on loan at Swiss Super League club Lausanne-Sport, which is one of the INEOS clubs. Good signing, player for the future, kind of like a Sesko last year. You're not going to see much of him. He's already going on loan. I think that makes sense. INEOS model, right? Moneyball football.
No, Heaven, Cheeto. Like, I like how they're augmenting the youth here, and we have been selling youth, so it totally makes sense. I don't even think we need to rate this one. This is too young.
Too young.
For Leon, Diego Leon, this happened last season where we signed him, and then he was coming on board. We saw him in preseason feature. Faded. I think Grimsby would be a good game. There was a shot of him on the bench at Grimsby, not looking too happy. So you want to break down this deal?
Yeah, Diego Leon, like you said, 3.3 million pound fee up front with a potential add-ons to get the fee to 7. 18-year-old Paraguayan, joined from Cerro Porteño in the Paraguayan League, played 33 games there as an 18-year-old, scoring 4 goals, and he made his debut last August. Player for the future. I think he should go right on loan. I know we have a little thinness in wingbacks, but
he didn't go on loan, but he's been featuring, and Amram might need him at some point here.
But he's a youngster. Physicality, you can see why they preferred him over Amos. We'll get to Amos's loan a little bit later when we talk about the outgoings on the loan side. But Leon, a player for the future. I think they're prioritizing physicality. You saw that in the Dogu signing. He's a physical beast, and Leon has the capacity to be so as well. I think also for our sake, not rating like kids this young who are not going to be really a senior first team player right away. To be determined, because we don't need to.
I don't like signing him and not loaning him and then having him not play against Grimsby Town. Right? So there's a few.
Hey, we lost that game.
Like, we already have. Well, Tyler Fredrickson played. Diego Leon didn't even get any minutes. We obviously struggled in that game. But, like, if you're going to sign a youngster like this, you have to find a way to integrate him, especially if you're not going to loan him out. And he's good to be on the team and not get a lot of playing time. So our development of youngsters has not been great. And if he gets loaned out next season, you're already kind of in the why did we sign him sort of bucket, which is why we need the proper director of football that we've talked about so much. Next one, everybody knows, Bryan Mbeumo. Got his first goal against Burnley, sir. Give us the rub on Bryan Mbeumo. This was a bit of a saga. Took a while.
This was a saga, and it clogged up a lot of the transfer window because we went one at a time. Bryan Mbeumo, 26-year-old Cameroon international, signed for Brentford, £65 million plus 6 add-ons, so £71 million potential deal. Basically what Brentford quoted at the beginning of the window, and for some reason, classic United way, drag it out and then just pay him exactly what they want. And he had a hell of a season last year. He scored 20 goals in the EPL, including 5 penalties, 65 goals across 225 appearances for Brentford, helped them get promoted, joined within the championship. He's been blooded out in the championship. great player, instant signing, a right winger, but could also play as a 10, obviously preferred as a 10 under Amorim's system, but he's dynamic. He likes to beat a man, and he's already made a great impact. 2 goals, 1 in the EFL Cup, 1 in the league, like you said, his first goal at Old Trafford. And he's my signing of the summer. Great player, turnkey, dogging him, and I'm very, very excited to see him grow in with Ahmad, see him grow in with the Sesko. He had that nice chip in the Burnley game that Sesko almost got his first goal for Manchester United. So I think they're going to be a great link up, and just exactly the type of player that United should be signing. Him and Cunha, I think, are like you said, A signings. These are like make total sense, and I think even the fee is reasonable considering some of the fees that some clubs were able to garner this summer.
No, look, for me, he's a great player. The question is, I would go to him as a surplus signing if I could get midfield and goalkeeper fully addressed, which are critical issues for this team. If we saw the first 4 games, additionally, I worried about how are you going to fit. Signing Mbeumo means that Bruno has to play out of position, right? So when you sign Cunha, Bruno can still play in the front 3. You sign Mbeumo and Cunha for this amount of money, it means Bruno has to play in the 2. I would have liked maybe Cunha first, another 6, and then that way, if we had the extra funds where we are now, where we clearly do not have the funds for a midfielder, then I would have gone for this type of signing. I felt like we were very opportunistic with EPL proven top talent. It is sexy. He's a great attacker, but work with me on how we're going to set up this team. I also like this signing. If Bruno went to Saudi, this is the perfect player to bring in. I do know we got rid of a bunch of attackers, but we're starting to already get to the point in the window where like the reinforcements are coming, right? The midfielder's coming, right? And then they ended up not happening. And so we just got to talk about that quickly. But Sesko, another signing. I think this is great. Great number 9, top number 9 prospect in all of Europe, sir. I'm going to say he's Zlatan along with Mbeumo. I think this is good. He's going to turn good no matter who the manager is or what United does because he has everything. We saw that leap against Burnley. He's a freak. I don't like the start. I don't think it's been managed well. I think you sign this player to play a number 9, to play with a number 9. I understand getting back to the Mbeumo Cunha issue. How do you put Sesko, Mbeumo, Cunha on the pitch? Because they're not going to be playing with the target man. That's not those types of players. Cunha wants to run at people and Mbeumo wants space on the wing. So questions around the strategy, obviously great attacking prospects, but how do they all work together? And so Sesko's kind of been the man on the bench as he's been starting, but sir, walk us through the deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to unlock it all. It's called the 4-2-3-1, and we might be there soon enough. We might, because you can fit it all together. Bruno at 10, Cunha on the left, and Mbeumo on the right, and big old Slovenian, 22-year-old Slovenian striker Benjamin Sesko. Like you said, it was a merry-go-round, a little bit of musical chairs as related to the striker search this season. This summer, Gyökeres early, then there was a bit of Ekitike, and ultimately Benjamin Sesko was who we went for. There was even a little bit of Ollie Watkins, of course, at a time. They went, once again, Moneyball. They didn't go, like, turnkey. Ollie Watkins, for just a little bit less, would have been a proven goal scorer. But Sesko is a player for the future. Like you said, one of the top number 9 prospects in all of world football. He scored 21 goals in all comps last year for Leipzig, 27 goals across 64 appearances at the club.
Should be starting.
A lot of upside. My only concern is still the pressure you put on him by not having a backup. We had one striker last year. That was a failure. He was a young striker. You buried him into the ground, and I don't want to do that to Sesko. Maybe that's why he hasn't gotten the same minutes to take the pressure off of him a little bit. But no backup concerns me even without European football. But that being said, I think the fee is reasonable. All the fees were pretty reasonable, I must say. That's the one thing I will give them credit for. They left holes in the squad, but I don't think we materially overpaid for any player in this transfer window.
That's a totally fair assessment. Let's get into Senne Lammens. Shoka, loving the suit, lads. What do we think of Lammens? Anyone got to be better than Onana, to be honest. Look, I think that rationale does work, but he's young and he's not the man to. I'd be surprised if going to the Sesko argument, you drop him into deep water against shitty. I think you let Bayern Deer's gonna get cooked by City and Chelsea. It's just one of those things. Siraj said, "Love the suits." Hey, big brains over here. Big football brains of the American Red Devils.
We look a lot smarter in these suits. We look a lot smarter in these suits.
Shogun also says selling Bruno was a no-brainer. I mean, we can get into that debate a little later. Let's just talk about the goalkeeper, Emi Martinez. It came down to cash. We didn't want to pay for Martinez. We were trying to swap Sancho. Sancho obviously doesn't want that because he doesn't want to sign a new deal for less wages. So he was being difficult all the way to the end. We end up getting Lammens. This is like signing you have like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, look at his stats. They're great. He's playing in Belgium. Like, let's be honest. Like he's a freak. He has all the assets, but is he the guy in 2 years? Who knows? Do we need a guy who might be the guy in 2 years looking at who we have starting in goal at Manchester United? No, I don't like this deal from INEOS. You can see what we need. We need EPL proven. We need turnkey right now. They go for the project. Doesn't make sense. We have too many goalkeepers, and now we don't have a guaranteed number one. Now we have a project, and it's more of a mess for me. I like the kid. I think the solution was signing Emi Martinez and him, but if you can't get Bryan Mbeumo and Onana off the books, this further just makes the goalkeeper issue even like, what if he comes in and looks nervy? Then you're back to Bryan Mbeumo, then you're back to Onana. That's what United doesn't need. You need a locked on number one. You need someone you can trust at the back. And I think INEOS had to go with Emi Martinez as much as that deal probably gave them heartburn to pay for an older keeper. It's what United needed now, and it's interesting we went Moneyball. They were thinking with their pocketbook with Lammens.
No, because sometimes this crew of INEOS, they've gotten some things right, they've gotten some things wrong. One thing they get wrong is they often play football on paper. On paper, this is a great deal. Lammens, he's going to have resale value. He's only upside. It's a pretty cheap fee, like 22 million, 18.2 plus 3.4, so low fee in the low 20s. But at the same time, this is a real problem. You don't have a competent one or number two goalkeeper today. The English Premier League is a different animal. This isn't even the English Premier League 10 years ago. Today, it's a physical war. They're going after their goalkeeper. They're targeting them. They're going to target him because they can get away with a lot in the box. We've seen that before. Players going after Onana, Bryan Mbeumo this season to date. Last season, it's a thing. So the move would have been getting both. It sounds crazy, but you would have been able to push out Onana and Bryan Mbeumo, at least in loans, over the next 8 days because both the Saudi League and the Turkish League are still open. You could have forced the deal. And I think they're leaving themselves short because, once again, it's like Benjamin Sesko. Great player, huge upside, but at the end of the day, Premier League is a different beast. It's Manchester United, and there's a different pressure by being the number one guy in two positions. Striker and goalie have a different pressure than any other position on the field. There's something about it, something about scoring goals, and there's something about keeping goals out of the net. And I think you're putting a lot of pressure on this kid once again, coming up from he ain't even coming up from the Italian league. We, bashing Højlund, bashing Sesko coming from Germany. It's like he's coming from the Belgian league. The Belgian league, I'm sure he's getting peppered shots.
No, he has great stats, but
great player on the upside. But I think you're still putting a lot of pressure on the youngster because he should be starting in a couple of weeks. But you're not going to throw him in the deep end. What you do is you let Bryan Mbeumo get cooked by all those hard teams.
No, this is exactly what we did with Højlund.
Exactly.
Which is
good point.
When you have a youngster and it's a high pressure position like goalkeeper or striker and they don't have cover, you're exposing them and you're going to have to play him and play him and play him and play him. And it's either going to, either he's going to take the bull by the horns or he's going to wilt. And you can ruin a youngster by not having cover for him. And the goalkeeping room to me, it's so, if you actually think about it from a footballing perspective, maybe not a front office, look at it. You got two guys who can't do it. You got a youngster who nobody knows if he's going to come good or not. And if he does come good, it's going to be a while. JG Wentworth, I need saves now. I need cash now. I don't need him to be the guy I need a guy now. I need a guy today. I need a guy yesterday. We need him before the end of the season. Again, INEOS. How many points did they cost us? The front office. How many points have they already cost us with these goddamn goalkeepers? Andre Onana arguably cost us the final against Spurs. We've seen it. He was even dropped before Spurs. He got dropped out of the league. He arguably shouldn't even played in the final. We already know Onana's no good. He cost us Champions League. It's insane. They thought they could run it back. They tried to get away with one again, and then this came down to we don't want to pay $30 million for Emi Martinez, which is insane. That's how strapped for cash we were. That's how hard we went high up the pitch. This front office bottled the keeper issue, and we didn't even get to midfielder. So, sir, let's finish up the incomings. But you can already hear I got some spice on my fastball as far as what I think of this window and kind of how we finished it because I'm worried. This makes me worried.
You should be worried. We've watched this team for a long time, 25 years. We've done this pod for 8 years. Plenty of reasons to be worried. Let's talk about. We'll talk about the stats in a second. But I agree. It's also, if you look at how much wages we saved with all the loans, and we'll get into the financials in a little bit, they should have made a move. They always try to do this too clever. They're trying to be too clever. They're trying to run it back, and it wouldn't have been that much. It wasn't like going to get Donnarumma. It was it would not have been that much to get Emi Martinez. He wanted to come to United.
It was $30 million. That's enough of that. That's the same amount of wages.
They could have made a deal. They didn't want to.
They didn't want to outlay cash on someone they were not going to get
How
back
much
on
is
a
Europe?
resale.
How much is Conference League or Europa
Yeah,
League
but
worth?
you and me both know.
They got too clever.
So here's the real problem is that with a serious 6 and probably a serious number 1 in Emmy, I don't really rate Emmy Martinez, but you got to make the
He's
best.
turnkey.
You have to make the best worst choice with 24 hours left in the window. And Emmy Martinez was the guy, and a number 6 was the call. And if we could have got someone serious, sir, we could be competing and pushing for top 4. And without them, we're probably gonna miss out on Europe if we're being honest. Thinking about 8th or 7th. I hope we all figure it out and gel. I would recall Toby Coyer back from loan already. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, or if there's an injury in that midfield. But that's a really core problem for United. And I've just seen so many issues that if you ignore them, they're not going to go away. And this team and this front office, they really tried to get away with one. They tried to get away with goalkeeper and midfield, and it makes me nervous. Let's just do the total spend.
They did it last year too with striker. To be fair, they did
is this Oberton, Zlatan? What do you got?
I think he will be a top player. I think he just needs time.
So Zlatan?
He's Zlatan, giant Zlatan, Belgian keeper. He's got the stats. Look, we talked about the stats. Most XG prevented last season in Europe. Talked about De Gea's killer year. 17-18. He was the best keeper in the world by a mile. He had 12 and a half.
This is not in a real league.
I know, but
that's a lie. This is Oberton. He's Oberton. He's Oberton.
He's a bust.
The reason why he's Oberton is
because they're going to kill him. United's going to ruin him.
The reason why this is Oberton is it's set up for failure.
He is.
He's set up for failure.
Just like Højlund.
He's coming into, there's no clear number 1 who's a vet who can teach him. He's going to be thrown into the mix, and it's going to be sink or swim. I hope he swims, but everything is going against him right now. And how desperate we are. For him to come in to the EPL and start at Old Trafford and just be lights out, that would be great.
Not
but
happening.
How was
De Gea's intro to the EPL?
The odds are it won't go that way, and then we're going to see how that goes. But let's get back and let's rank the total income. He's give us a total value of all the transfers.
So the total base fees, we're going to try and do it that way. 215.7, so 216 base fee pounds. And then another 23.8 potential add-ons. So 240 million if all add-ons are satisfied. That's the buys. 2 turnkey players in Mbeumo and Cunha. 2 projects that could play in Sesko and Lammens, and then some real kind of future projects in the young striker and Diego Leon. So there you go. That's
not enough. Not enough. And I honestly don't think we needed to spend more money. So we think about it. We spent a lot of money. And I think if you're not going to buy a midfielder, you got to loan a midfielder. If you're not going to buy a midfielder or loan a midfielder, you got to keep Toby Coyer. There's a bunch of themes here as far as just where this club needs to be thinking, and we have to then